Where are we going to be at the end of 2022, the end of this year with Star Citizen? We've already talked about some plans for the first half of 2022 in another video. I'll summarise that very roughly, but I want to talk about the second half of 2022. What's happening in Q3 and Q4? What potentials of gameplay and features do we have that show on the roadmap that Cloud Imperium have talked about? And what are we expecting or hoping to be completed for the end of the year? What's on that progress tracker roadmap that we have to now interpret? I have heard some creators and Star Citizen backers say that 2022 is not the year for Star Citizen. Now, really, that's a pretty vague statement, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I've heard other people that have played Star Citizen recently say that it's blown them away, or this could be the turning point of something great. Whatever you think, there is a lot going on this year, but Star Citizen is very much still going to be in alpha by the end of the year. I do think there's going to be a lot more to it, and I also think that it's not going to be as much progress as some people want. Star Citizen is a set of marathons for its development, with extra legs added just before you get to any one finish line. The development is certainly slow. There are a lot of delays. The nature of the sort of development they do is pretty open, but that means that we see features and have expectations of those patches, and bits move around all the time and shatter my hopes and dreams. Cloud Imperium is currently focusing on Squadron 42, their single-player campaign. Obviously, it shares a huge amount of features with Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. It is effectively the same game, but Star Citizen is multiplayer and Squadron 42 is single-player. But that doesn't mean, just because their focus is on Squadron 42, that Star Citizen and its Persistent Universe are ignored. Cloud Imperium have said that this year we are on the road to Pyro, but they haven't confirmed if this means that they're actually going to get Pyro out this year or not. In fact, though, from the way that Cloud Imperium are talking, it does appear, to me at least, that they are trying to have it out by the end of Q4. But they don't know if it's going to be ready or not. That's the feeling I get from what Cloud Imperium is saying. They're saying we're on the road to Pyro. We're not saying it's going to be released at the end of the year or not. Well, that suggests to me that they're trying to, but they don't know. Simple as that. This is partly due to their studio expansion, as they look to almost double their workforce over the next few years. They are taking on a huge amount of new hires and then training employees, as well as transferring back from working from home to working from office, at least for the most part. These sort of new studios they've got in Manchester city centre and in Frankfurt are fantastic. They're beautiful buildings. They are like high-tech campuses. They are a place that you would want to work, is sort of what they're going for. They want creatives. They want to attract these people to come to these lovely cities and work and share ideas and stay there for the long term. They don't want high employee turnover, which is a problem that they might suffer from, and we've talked about that in another video as well. Now, please bear in mind that we don't know for sure what Cloud Imperium's plans are beyond what they show on the roadmap tracker, a progress tracker there, and what they talk about. A lot of it is going to be interpretations of that, me looking at things that Cloud Imperium have said, what I reckon about things, my expectations, but just bear that in mind. That does not mean that they are confirmed. And it's a lot of me going, yeah, that makes sense. This is what Cloud Imperium's plans probably are. We know that Q1, Q2 of this year, Cloud Imperium are focusing on some major mechanics, like ship-to-ship refueling, allowing the Starfarer to fill up and charge ships for fuel. They're also expanding selling, allowing you to sell a much wider range of things like FPS items back to shops. And then for Alpha 3.18, there's the cargo refactor, which is absolutely huge. This is going to really change cargo, trading and logistics in game, especially over time, but so the start of the refactor is very important. And then we also have hull stripping salvage, both by hand and with the Vulture light salvage vessel. Persistent hangars was pushed off the roadmap, but I think we might see it later this year after the cargo refactor. We know that Cloud Imperium want to have times and costs associated with loading and unloading cargo, as well as the ability to store it at a station or hangar with you like renting space, that sort of stuff. Persistent hangars are really important as a step towards player hubs as well, and we know that Cloud Imperium are working on that, and Rastar, their new base building tech, though we don't know when we're actually going to be able to build our own bases. We do know that Cloud Imperium are working on it. So what about the second half of the year and by the end of 2022? Where might we be with Star Citizen? Well, we should almost certainly see, and we know that they are working on, lots of network upgrades for sharding and towards server meshing, generally making the game and servers better. Vulkan integration and the Gen 12 renderer are seeing a load of work during the year and could very well be mostly complete by the end of the year too. My hope is that for Q4, we're going to have Star Citizen Alpha 4.0, because Cloud Imperium's focus has been on 4.0 and Pyro, but also have the game in a very good state because of their Gen 12 renderer, because of various networking updates, and we should see a much more playable, accessible game. But static server meshing would be great to have in Alpha 4.0 by the end of the year. And that was the plan for quite a while. However, by the way the Cloud Imperium are talking, and they've been talking about sharding, which is a step towards server meshing, I do think that it might take server meshing a little bit more time to get into the game in a sort of playable state. I think they're testing it. I think they've got it in the dev branches and that sort of stuff. They're able to go, well, let's mess around with it. But I don't think it's near ready for static server meshing to be in our hands. So server meshing is the connecting of multiple servers that then handle different gameplay areas like a section of space or a planet, and then they share that data seamlessly between servers. So you'd have Microtech as a server, and then you'd have the area around Microtech and the space station there as its own server, and then sections of space moving towards Hurston as servers, and you could have 2,000 players in the Stanton star system, but 100 players on each of these different servers, but you wouldn't know that you were on different servers because you'd be moving between them seamlessly. So sharding then says, well, actually, we might need multiple copies of the same server or star system. In the short and mid-term, we also need regional servers, so this runs multiple versions of the persistent universe simultaneously, kind of like we have now, but then shares all of that data to sort of like a God server, which will then affect the economy on all servers, the dynamic universe on all servers, where mining deposits are, where player bases are, sort of that's all needed to be tracked on all servers. You can appropriately load players in and out of these shards and save their persistent information. It has crash redundancy and basically is a sort of interconnective layer that then can work with server meshing to do what they want with server meshing. That's a very rough, bad explanation of what sharding is. But there's a lot of tech improvements here too, and I believe that it's very possible that Cloud Imperium could be releasing Pyro and Jump Points as Alpha 4.0 with sharding instead of the first iteration of static server meshing. That's what I'm trying to get to. I don't think we're ready for static server meshing yet. We might be. I'm not ruling it out, but I do think that it's possible now that Cloud Imperium will go, and actually sharding's working. We've got Pyro done. Or at least largely done, because Cloud Imperium have said that Ruin Station will not be part of the first release of Pyro, I believe. But this would mean that they are probably going to have you changing between servers, and if you're moving between Stanton and Pyro, there could even be a stealth loading screen, but it's a sacrifice I'm certainly willing to make to have Pyro in-game. But it's certainly going to be in a state where we have significantly better servers, and steps towards server meshing will be in by the end of the year. Do we have server meshing, static server meshing? Maybe, though it's looking less likely to me. With Pyro, you're going to get a load of new planets, biomes, new outposts, missions, and a lot of danger. We do know that Cloud Imperium have been working on the Nyx system as well, but I do think that's going to be a lot further out, even if it is ready, because it's going to require too much testing to get 2-star systems in this year. A lot of work has been going into NPCs, pathfinding, and them being able to move between space to atmosphere to ground, and then actually act in a first-person shooter manner. Cloud Imperium have said that we could start to see missions and NPCs used in this way, in this new way, as early as Alpha 3.18. That will lead to lots of things like escort missions, defense, reinforcement, and buddy opportunities, as well as being more steps towards NPC crew and actually capturing sort of bounties, things like that, hunting them down. Actually, they can be out of their ships and you can take them out in stations. Realistically, it's something that we might see in the second half of the year, at least start to see. But it's super important. Actually, to me, it's as important as Alpha 4.0 features, at least in my mind. Having NPCs be able to sort of be part of the dynamic universe simulation eventually requires this. I think it's safe to say you can expect a deeper reputation system, economy updates, various new events. New events, very much so, Cloud Imperium are sort of trying to push. We know that Cloud Imperium have been building the dynamic universe sim part of the game, and we will start to have more elements of that phased into the game ASAP. I am hoping we see Rivers and Roads this year too. On the progress tracker, that suggests that work is wrapping up for Rivers, Basins, and Roads in Q2, so I very much think that we could see this actually in game later this year. Probably shown off at CitizenCon, things like that as well. Something else I'm expecting is a ground vehicle physics rework, just improving the way vehicles move and drive on the ground. Bounty hunting and piracy is something that looks to be getting more and more expanded this year. We know that cargo updates will eventually allow you to move all your cargo out of another ship. I'm hoping and expecting to see ship-in-ship spawning, or vehicle-in-ship spawning, so we can have our vehicle sort of just immediately attachable to a ship like our Carrack, and then spawn it with that just when we're in a hangar. Easy, bam, sorted. Actually, we know that with bounty hunting, Cloud Imperium have been working on a tracking feature that records and updates where criminals or bounties are based on who sees them, who they interact with. Are they seen on comm arrays? Or do they go to stations? Or do informants see them? And then that will be data that you can use to then hunt them down. Something that I do actually think is coming later this year. I'm expecting 2022 to be a record year again for funding for the project, and probably by some margin. We've already seen earlier in the year that they've been making a lot of money, more than they did last year already, month on month, day on day. But Cloud Imperium have got very good at marketing and ship sales, as well as making hype events. Fleet Week, CitizenCon, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, as well as now a myriad of smaller events and ship sales. This could, in my opinion, push the game into making over $100 million this year, which would make sense as Cloud Imperium continue to expand their operation further and further. I mentioned Squadron 42 earlier. I'm hoping to see Cloud Imperium expose some more development info on that later this year, hopefully with a traditional marketing campaign starting for it. Chris Roberts has been largely in the background of the project for the last year and a half. Chris Roberts, however, is moving to the UK to help finish out Squadron 42, and Disco Lando, the video content guru at Star Citizen, is going to be moving the operation to the UK as well for sort of doing their videos there. So that's what it looks like. It looks like we're going to have a lot more focus on the UK studio, which is the largest studio and is building the lion's share of the game. I want to talk a little bit about CitizenCon. It is probably in October, so it's quite far away, but it's almost certainly going to be a physical event this year. It's likely going to show off jump points and much more of Pyro, new missions, better NPCs, new ships, maybe the Bounty Merchantman, Apollo, Polaris and Corsair in some state might be shown off. Someone has suggested to me that they might start to try and phase in the Idris and the Javelin into players' hands. I do think that's actually still further off, but it's a possibility. It's quite possible that we will see the Corsair in our hands in Q4 as well, along with a load of other ships. There's lots of ships that are going to be built out this year. I do think we'll see Hull C, for example, as well, even though it got pushed back and things like that. If there's going to be a Squadron 42 advertising campaign, almost certainly they'd start it at CitizenCon, though I have expected them to do something like that for the last 2 years, so what do I know, because I've been wrong both those years. Beyond that, I'm expecting Cloud Imperium to swell and evolve their current content, so much more focusing on what they currently have. We may see some physicalized components like shield emitters be put in. I am cautiously hopeful that Cloud Imperium will try to get more of the physical components and physical damage in later this year. That's core to Star Citizen, and that makes sense that they're trying to push for that because most of their development team are working on Squadron 42, and features that can be ported over to the persistent universe for that will be ported over as soon as they're sort of sensible to be put in. Squadron 42, the completion of that will represent the completion of the core of Star Citizen. It's sort of core dogfighting and ship features. It needs physical components, it needs physical damage, it needs all of those things, and then they can be put in the persistent universe, and you go, well actually, all of the core game is now done, they just need to build out these other mechanics, and there's a lot of them. There's a load of things and networking stuff and NPC things that are very different in the persistent universe, and a load of additional gameplay loops, which are not going to be in Squadron 42 that they need to put in the persistent universe, but having the core of the game done is huge. And I do think we're going to be in a much better state at the end of this year. I'd expect to see the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo like at Crusader and Horizon this year, and probably Jax McCleary will be returning from his trip to Pyro with some cool stuff that he talks about. Anyway, I do think there's a lot that Cloud Imperium are doing this year with Star Citizen, Squadron 42, and building out their studios further. It's possible we won't see Pyro in-game at the end of the year. I personally remain ever hopeful that we will see it. But at the end of the day, it's done when it's done. The development is slow, especially in areas that I want to see development speed in. But I do like what I see from Cloud Imperium, and I'm always going to want more. I am willing to give Cloud Imperium the time they need to make this massive behemoth of a game a reality. So is 2022 the year of Star Citizen? Well, probably not. But is it going to be a terrible year for the game? Again, probably not. It looks like they're getting a lot of important stuff in. It looks like there's going to be a lot more going on with them building out Studio and Squadron 42 and all that sort of jazz, and I'm ever hopeful that we will see lots more features for the game this year. But what do you think? What are you expecting to see later this year? When could we see Squadron 42? What will they show at CitizenCon? Is server meshing too complex to have this year? Is development too slow, or are you happy to give Cloud Imperium however long they need? Will 2022 be the year for Star Citizen, whatever that means? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Mummy, my friend told me at school today that Star Citizen was a scam. Oh, Tim, is that why you got into a fight? Yes, Mummy. The only scam is people stealing all your internet infos and blocking your ability to watch things on Netflix and such with regional-based access. That's why we use our words, Tim. You should have told those bullies to get NordVPN, and also that Star Citizen is the best damn space sim ever.
Yes, these two people are right. Get NordVPN, and also Star Citizen's great. Also, Timmy was a 35-year-old teacher at the school. And it wasn't even a school, it was a pub, and he was a barman.
Every month we have a ship giveaway, and for February 2022, it's for an Aegis Sabre, the high-tech medium fighter with loads of firepower, but it comes in an auspicious red paint scheme as part of the Red Festival, as well as lifetime insurance and a Star Citizen game package. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is comment on any of my videos made during the month. You can further support the channel by clicking the join button underneath any of my videos. You can also donate or become a Patreon. Your feedback, though, from comments really helps the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, if you're looking for a diegetic little controlly boy that makes your Star Citizen experience and potentially some other games pretty good fun on your touchscreen devices, then check out Game Glass. You've got that, you've got NordVPN links, you've got loads of other stuff, all in the links below. Click them all! Click them all! Maybe not all of them, that would be madness.